every time I'd get back from Brazil, I'd get home and I'm out there for a month knocking on doors, talking to witnesses, chasing people down, trying to convince them to come forward, like crazy.
Yeah, this is not like a quick venture to make this documentary.
12 years.
That's insane.
And so,
wow.
And so I'd come home from a trip in Brazil, and I'm telling you, man, it was like my mind was just torqued. I'm in another alternate reality. I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm coming to the realization that this happened.
When that man takes you to the spot and he gets overwhelmed with emotion.
He was gone for 25 years. Marco Leal, thank you, Marco, and co. I said to Marco, that guy, we don't have a story. We got to find Carlos de Souza.
Yeah, unless that guy is a Daniel Day-Lewis quality actor.
We don't need Brad Pitt anymore, nor Leonardo DiCaprio. That
guy, if he's full of shit,
best actor.
He's one of the best actors ever, because that moment when he gets to that spot and he's overwhelmed with emotion, he starts tearing up and he's freaking out. Like, just imagine if 25 years ago you experienced something that literally destroyed your understanding of life itself in the universe, that there's a thing out there that can visit us that's different than us, and it's probably been here forever.
My DP, David West, has been shooting for over 40 years, and he's like, I've never seen anything like that. That's about as legit as I've ever seen.
It was so believable.
Crying, and I mean, not only that, but it's like the guy disappeared. He's never made a dime off this. He gave one statement 26 years ago to a guy named Claudio Covo. Claudio Covo was an engineer, and he was a researcher, UFO researcher in Brazil. Thank you, may you rest in peace, Claudio Covo. And there was a guy named Uberajada Rodriguez. He was a prominent lawyer. He's also investigated the case. We wouldn't know about this case if it hadn't been for a handful of dogged Brazilian UFO researchers. Pekka Chini deserves credit. This guy named Marco Petit, A.J. Javard. These guys.
Varginha is 150,000.
I think it's about 130,000. I think.
So it's like Boulder, Colorado sized.
Yeah, and it's the surrounding areas. But you know, I was going to include like I did with Rua in the phenomenon. I was going to include like 5 or 10 minutes of that case and I worked so hard for so long with so many people. And then I just deleted the whole thing out of the film, and I was like, "Oh God, Marco's going to kill me when he sees this." That I just didn't include any of it because I just couldn't squeeze it in, and there was too much. It was just too much.
Well, I'm glad you did it that way, honestly, because Moment of Contact is it's really good. There's a few of these documentaries that I go, God, I shut them off, and I go, oh, if that's real, holy shit! Imagine being those people. Imagine being these people in this small city of 150,000 people, and then something happens and a fucking UFO crashes in a field and people witness it. And everyone is just stuck there. Then the military shuts the town down.
Can you see this?
Yes.
This is Brigadier Jose Carlos Pereira of the Brazilian Air Force. Okay? I met with him with Marco on 2 occasions. The second occasion was 2000.
In front of that camera might be.
I'm so
better,
sorry.
Right? Would it be better?
This is Jose.
Yeah. No.
Worse.
Okay.
This is Jose. You can look him up. Jose Carlos Pereira, Brigadier, Brazilian Air Force. Okay. So Marco and I met with him twice. The second time was 2013. He gave us an interview. Some of it's in the film. And he said, like, I'll talk about the 1986 UFOs over Brazil. I'll talk about the Colares case that happened in the 70s. Phenomenal photographic evidence that's out there. You asked me about Varginha, and this interview is terminated.
Whoa.
It's like, what? What do you mean terminated? Like, really? So anyway, we do the interview, and I was like, well, I'm not going to ask him, I guess. But when the camera stopped rolling, I was like, please. I mean, Marco and I were begging and pleading with this guy, and I remember looked him dead square in the eyes. I said, I swear on my life, there are no recording devices. There are no cameras rolling. Please tell us about Varginha. Why did you have that reaction to Varginha? Marco was too. We were begging him. I was practically licking this guy's boots, and he's getting prepared to leave, and he's got a driver waiting for him outside. So we were following and pleading with him all the way out there. Please, just tell us. Please, I swear on my life, this happened. He gets in the car, doors open. He looks up, and the only reason why I'm telling you this because he died. He looks up at Marco and I, and he goes, "It happened." Closed the door, and off he went. Now, the reason why I share that is because that's not something that I can put any weight on for the documentary for people like you, right? But as a personal message for me, knowing that level of validation on the inside, it kept us going. It was like, okay, why on earth would he have done that? Why on earth would he say? And that kept Marco and I going, and that was a personal level of validation. That
is there any conventional explanation why the military shut everything down? Why they had military barricades set up around that area?
No, they did try to say that the creature was this guy who's got like some deformities. But I've seen the guy Modine or something like that. But you talk to the witnesses.
But why would the military shut the town down because of a guy with deformities?
And then for the doctors in the hospital, they said, there was like a midget having a baby or something weird, just something that was just so ridiculous. It was like, and you talk to the witnesses, and they're just like, oh, come on, I'm not even gonna, that's laughable at best. I mean, these girls came within 8 to 10 feet. Three women, Katya, 2 sisters, Liliani and Valkyria, 14, 16, and 21. They got within 8 to 10 feet in broad daylight of this creature. And one of the things that doesn't come across in the film, when they saw this thing, they're looking like, what are we looking at here? They're walking through this field, and it's up against a cinder block wall. And one of them was looking at it, what is that? And it was crouched by the wall. It was weak and feeble. And one of them kind of like screeched. Like, what is that? And it turned, and it looked right at the girls, locked eyes on them. Liliana grabs her younger sister, who's 14, Valkyria, and hightails it out of there. Katya is 21. She's frozen in her tracks, locked eyes with this creature, and it's communicating with her. Please help me. He wants help. It's weak, and it's feeble, and it's scared, and it's crouched down. Liliani realizes that Katya is back there. She gets, 100 feet down the path. She leaves her sister, stay here, I'm going back to get Katya. She runs back. And I asked Katya, and I asked all the girls, during that moment of contact, when you lock eyes, I know it's only a brief second, but during that moment of contact, what did you feel? Like, put me there. That's where the title comes from, Moment of Contact, because that was when they locked eyes on this creature. And that's when Katya said, help me, I'm scared. And it was feeble and suffering. And it's a very powerful moment. And these girls have been saying the same thing. The mother, it's the first time I'd ever reported on these so-called like men in dark suits that show up and intimidate witnesses. Honestly, I've been hearing about those cases for so many times, but I've avoided them because it's got so much baggage from men in black. It's just ridiculous. I just didn't even want to be associated with it. But I'd heard it. I can go on until I'm blue in the face. I go till tomorrow morning with the amount of cases with generals too.